Aloha, my name is Matt Darnell with ComTel.Cloud, cloud like up in the sky. I'm here with Greg Jackson, and we're going to be talking about some old-time tech. I mean, some of this is even from the 1900s. How you doing, Jack?
Definitely from the 1900s, yes.
Yeah, for sure. As are we, so it totally makes sense. So the story goes, I was at a customer's place and they're moving and they've been in this place for like 30 years. And so we're helping, we do their IT and their phones and everything. So she said, yeah, we're emptying this closet, and up on the shelf, I saw this. And I looked at it and I said, wait, does that say hub?
Oh,
Is
wow.
that like a 5-port hub? And I said, can I have that? She goes, sure. So here I am, I grabbed that, and a lot of folks don't realize, like I showed this to some of my techs, they go, what's the big deal, I said, remember I used to talk about crossover cables, and they don't understand the struggle that when you were going to plug a switch into another switch, you had to have a crossover cable or use a special port. Because I would ask them, why do you think there's 6 pukas, 6 ports here on the back and only 5 lights in the front? And they go, oh, then they kind of looked at it and they saw that this last one says uplink. They go, oh, so it's a 6-port. I'm going, no. You could only use the uplink or the port 5 there. So it was like one or the other. So if you're going to plug a computer in, you would use the port 5. If you're going to plug it into another switch, you'd have to use the uplink. And then so it would go the uplink on this side and then maybe port 5 on the other switch. And these, I bet you if you powered this up, this thing would still work. These things were just like tanks. And it's kind of neat how they have these feet here on the bottom, and then on the top there's molded places, so you could just kind of stack them up on top of each other. I wonder what the record is for the most anybody used at one time of these things. But yeah, and it's funny, it says Cisco on it, and so boy,
That's a newer one.
It has to be, but it's 10100 port hub there. But I didn't remember Cisco buying them.
They did. So Linksys went. Yeah, I don't know the years, but Linksys was on their own. Cisco bought them, and then someone else bought them. I forget who bought them last.
And spun it. I think once they bought Meraki, maybe that's when they figured out we don't need Linksys anymore. And is it even still around?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, these were the bomb, and then they have the routers and the Wi-Fi routers and have that there. So I saw this and I said, I need to have that just for posterity's sake. And then I made the mistake of, can I look at the rest? She said, sure, take whatever you want. So then this is the next gem I saw.
As soon as you said stack on those Linksyses, I thought all I saw was collisions and packets.
Right, it's like just blinking lights, right? I mean, there's no spanning tree on those things, so you create a loop and the whole network comes down. But this here, then I saw this, and ComTel's very first switch was 8 ports, but an OfficeConnect dual speed hub. And I remember that was a really big deal because like the first time I tried to plug a phone system in, it was a 10 megabit port on the phone system, and the switch was not dual speed. It was not 10 and 100. It was only 100. It couldn't step down to 10, so it took us about a day to figure out why it wasn't working. But yeah, and just like you said, there's collisions here, and you can tell if there's collisions on the 10 meg network or the 100 meg network. I mean, on a 4-port switch, hub, you had to know that. And downstairs, we even have a 24 port hub, just because we do any kind of port capture or anything like that. You really want to have that. And you notice here, it's a 5-port hub. And when did they start doing powers of 2 versus 5, 10? I don't remember a 10-port switch or hub. I think the next size is 8. Interesting that they went there. Maybe they're thinking 4 computers and then an uplink. And this one here, you can tell, like this one has a dedicated uplink port right over here, and one to connect to a computer. Where this one, you have a little thing that you go in and out. And I wonder if that just changes the programming so the transmit and the receive are switched, or if it's making a physical change somehow, and like a train tracks kind of moving around. But I saw this and I had to absolutely have it. And I wonder on the side here if you can see there's a little notch here. Is this like was there a clip that you would go from the one underneath it and kind of clip it together so you could stack them? It's got this little rounded.
I wonder if it's a rack mount adapter. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I actually, you can't put them on top of each other because this has got the rounded part here, and you wouldn't be able to set something flat on top of it. But I wonder if that was like for a spacer, because of this, you had to snap something in here and here, and then I don't know.
Oh, look at that! Yeah,
it looked like it had little feet and wall mountable there.
Goes in your Toco back panel. Yep.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
That's clean. It's in good shape too.
It is shiny. I'm looking for a date code on here. I don't see it right now, but yeah, it was made in China back then. So yeah, 5-speed dual port hub, tested to comply with for home or office use when that meant something. So I even had the power supply for this. I plugged in. I didn't plug it into any computers, but it actually powers on. Kind of nice. So that was kind of nice to have. So if we need to do a port capture, and I don't have, I can just bring this instead of the big old Linksys 24 ports, like a 1U rack mount. So anyway, so I had that hardware. So of course, did I stop there and say, let me just take these two things? No, I kept digging, and then I ran into some hardware, and I said, "Oh my goodness, look at this zip! I wish it was a Zip 100, but it's a Zip 250, and it's USB powered. So there's no other. It's
it's inline power. That's great.
Yeah. It's there's no power on that. I should plug this in to see if I don't have any media. I couldn't tell if the read head, the read heads are there anymore, but if they work. But it's again still pretty clean. This has got the date of December 19th, 2003, and have it. And they also had a Jazz drive. I don't know if they ever went in. I think that was a gigabyte. Or maybe Jazz, but what Jazz drive was even more. But I never had a Zip 250. I did have a Zip 100. It was kind of a floppy disk type size there. But did you ever have any Zip drives or anything?
Yeah, I had the big fat ones.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a new sleek one.
When you say big fat one, you had like the Zip 100?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they were just like floppy disks, but a little bit thicker. I don't remember the Jazz drives if those were any, but yeah, I mean, if USB had not come along, and Steve Jobs did what he did to kill it with the iMac, I mean, I think this would have been the way to go.
The one I had that click of death, where it would you'd go in and go click, click, click.
And all your work was gone.
Oh, it was.
But I'm sure you had backups, right?
Right. Yeah, I stored them all on floppies.
Right, 250. That's probably 175 floppies. So no problem at all. So, anyways, I thought that was kind of neat just to kind of have that to, do all kind of fun stuff.
I think I've got something here that takes me back. I don't have anything. Can't really say too much about it, but I don't know if you've ever seen one of these things. I'm not sure if you ever see. You remember what this is? Let's see if I get the camera to do it.
Does that top come off?
Yep. Yeah.
So is that like a Wi-Fi adapter, USB Wi-Fi adapter, or?
No, this is a USB drive that yeah,
with three megabytes on
it. Well, yeah, I think this was a big deal at the time. It might have been I think it might be 8 gigs, but it's called an IronKey.
IronKey.
Yeah, so this is one of the answers that the military had after they had their USB problems. But basically, this actually self-destructs if you type in the password too many times, and then you can manage the USB sticks over like a central management.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. We don't do a lot of work with the military, but is that similar to like a SED drive, at the self-encrypting drives? Will those self-destruct? Well, do you need, if it's encrypted, do you need it to self-destruct? I mean, like when a hard drive is locked with BitLocker, I mean, you either have the password or you don't, right? I mean, supercomputers can work on it for trillions of years and not get through. I wonder what the...
Self-destruction would be good for brute force attacks.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, if you said, just plug it into AI and you've got, I had these set at 99 tries and then it would self-destruct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But did you have to do a comp? I guess if you're typing this password in,
they were expensive too.
I can imagine. Absolutely. And anyways, that's really cool piece of tech. And 8 gigs. That's a lot of storage. I
might be wrong. It might be 2. I don't know.
2. I mean, still 2. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, compared to this thing, 250 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes, right? For there. And then, did you ever use Roxio Creator at all? I mean, I just ran into all these kind of like Roxio Special Edition or Limited Edition, and I mean, I remember I used to love creating music, your own CDs, right? Your own music, and you could skip the tracks, and I just can't tell you how many hours I spent making my own CDs, and every fourth one would be you had to use it as a coaster because it would just burn wrong. And they're $10 a pop, and you're just like crossing your fingers hoping it's going to turn out all right and have it there. So
a lot of wind chimes. I don't know, you ever see those guys make wind chimes?
Exactly. But yeah, so anyway, so I just kind of need bringing back memories of doing that. And then other stuff like this, titanium internet security. It's dated 2011. I don't know because the McAfee and stuff has already, but I don't know what would be on internet security from Trend Micro. If it was a different browser, it doesn't say on here what. I should hook up a CD-ROM and see what's on there. But yeah, it was bundled with Dell computers. But what do you think would be on there? I mean, a simple email phishing thing or a site safe? I mean, what was internet security in 2011?
I think it was more of a competitor to like Norton, McAfee.
Okay.
I think it was Kaspersky. I think was the other one. So it's kind of like a package.
Okay.
So yeah.
But do you have any? What can you think? What did it do besides scan incoming emails?
Yep. Yeah.
But like in the browser, if it's not replacing the browsers, because this would have been IE days, so a plugin or something.
You are filtering, phishing. Yeah.
The stuff that we just take for granted when you just open up Brave or anything like that, stuff like that. So anyways, that was kind of, and then, olden days, like I remember when you would buy a modem or something, this is 56K, this is really fast, a card, it wouldn't just work. It talks about XP 2000, 95, 98, millennium.
See, that one gets me excited. When the boards are that small, that means it was a newer model.
And it had to be after 98 or after 2000, because it talks about 2000.
Yeah.
And after 2000, that was XP? After Millennium Edition was XP, right?
Yeah.
And then right to Windows 7? And then Windows 8.
It was SE Millennium XP? Is that what it was?
Oh, XP was after. Yeah. Oh, so it talks about Windows XP. So this is 2007, 2008 kind of stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so this is just amazing. You had to have a driver for that, or the thing wouldn't work. Half the time it wouldn't work anyway. I mean, how far we have come.
Do you remember fighting IRQs?
Oh, it was like you had like 2 and 4 and 3 and 5, and you would have to dip them out. Anyway, that was insane. That was insane.
I still fight IRQs with some of my customers. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
IRQs. What does that mean?
COM ports, and you got it's a dedicated USB or serial connections,
Really?
or like
a real interrupt request.
Well, I mean, I bundle IRQ with COM ports, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a COM port, especially fax and that kind of stuff. But I remember the first time I saw a little, and it's just a USB driver, and that was when I learned that one of the huge improvements they made with CD technologies are read from the inside out, as opposed to like a record where it goes from the outside in. Like, did you ever see like a business card people would have?
Yeah.
And it was just a mystery to me how it works. So just seeing a little thing like that. And they didn't have the device, but here's a little pager here. And it says Word Message Pager, PF1500. And it says main inbox, quick view inbox, news info inbox, or info on demand. Do you know what communication technology this used?
I thought that was in the 900 megahertz range. Wasn't that the same? Because I think that's part of how they, I want to say it was competing with the IDEN network and the 900 megahertz range, and that's why the penetration was so good with pagers.
I don't know. I never got into that kind of technology or the band spectrum or this or that. But yeah, I mean, it had to have. I don't know where all the repeaters were and all of the sites, but it was definitely two-way kind of technology.
That was new stuff. The two-way was, yeah. I remember having the small one was one-way.
Yeah, and you get your main inbox right there. So I don't know if there's a date on here.
I remember having a car alarm that had a pager.
Really? Well, when you're buying Ferraris and that kind of stuff. And then I ran into. Did you ever use Backup Exec?
Oh man, that was the Backup Exec was paralleled with Veritas. They were the same company, yeah.
So this was always back then. This was bigger than we were mostly doing phones back then and didn't have that. But they had this Quantum, still brand new in the shrink wrap, DAT72, and it says 3672, and I don't know what the difference is. If that's just compression,
yeah, I think so.
So if you want 72 gigs on here, it must just be slower compress, and it must be an estimate. You never know how something's going to compress.
The old days cold storage.
Yeah, and man, I couldn't imagine trying to restore from backup on one of these and just hoping it works. That's like get a sleep kind of thing.
I've used those for Exchange recoveries, and yeah, it's days to recover.
Wow. And then I'm sure there's probably multiple tapes, for that.
Yep.
But and then kind of still new in there, a CDRW, so read writable. It's funny, double speed, quad speed, 16 speed. Back in those days, it was double fast. 650 megs, and then because when you think about it, this was only 250. This thing here, and so this was 650. This is 72 gigabytes, but this one is 9.4 gigabytes on the DVD RAM, so it's rewritable. I wonder how much this cost new. I'm not sure what Type 4 means, but 9.4 gigs. That has to be dual layer, because the normal DVD is 4.7 gigs. Having that there, so I wonder if the USB thumb drives, flash hadn't become as cheap as it has so fast, where would this kind of technology have gone? And even today, I mean, there's a lot of people that still back up to tape. I think for the size, somebody told me that even, you can get a 30 terabyte hard drive now, 3.5 inch regular size hard drive. I don't know how good the tape technology. Do you have any concept of how good the tape technology is? LTO stuff.
Yeah, LTO's gone through major revisions. I think when I was using the drives, it was like 3 or 4. I think they're up to 9 now. So they get, I think, anywhere up to 18 terabytes per tape.
Really?
Yeah.
And is that one long tape, beginning to end? I wonder if there's like multiple, or to tracks, or they can read. Is it the one head and it's reading 5 tracks going across at one time, or like an 8-track kind of, had that kind of thing. I wonder how that technology
reminds me of Iron Mountain. We used to. I mean, I still have a customer that uses tapes, and so it's great for cold offsite, on island backup. So you stick it in the mail courier and keep it over in a bunker or something.
And then I found this brought back some memories because we used to have this for OS2. We sold a product called, AVT, their voicemail, and then they got bought out and they bought WriteFax and got about by OpenText. But yeah, it was an OS2 product, and see you, see me. So it's like you could have a camera on there, different, and just amazing how this stuff worked. That you had to buy software for people to be able to connect to it. Here, even Windows 3.1 DOS, Windows NT 95.
It was critical to use that for all the vendor recording. So whenever they wanted to come in and manage a server, we would be able to just, anytime they logged in, it would record their entire session. So it was very useful.
Oh, and then you could play the screen that they recorded as a interesting. And I guess, the screens at that time were 640 by 480. So you're not recording a 4K screen, with all the bits and have that there. But it says CD-ROM. This includes CD-ROM, 3.5 discs available. So I'm assuming if you wanted to get it for Windows 3.1 or DOS, there probably were CD-ROM drivers available for DOS, but you might need the disk for that. But I just thought that was kind of neat because it was still still here in the shrink wrap, and it does come with the CD.
What do you want to tell everyone what 32 means?
32? Well, it's twice 16, right? Twice as good as 16. Yeah.
Is the bits?
32 bit? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought, the 32 bit.
It's not the version 32, it was a bit rate.
I don't have that there. But then I found these two serial, this is a 1200 Baud modem. And I guess you had to look at the lights, like data send, data receive, to know the status, and you would troubleshoot based on that. But because 1200 baud, that's you could watch that being typed on a teletype. That's not like a screen. And then in the back here, it has a volume. I guess you wanted to hear the handshake.
So sometimes we would actually use those when we were trying to determine which line was still active or not active, and so it's good for testing without interrupting the line. Yeah. Yeah,
I that was beyond my first go was with PCI modems kind of thing, and we didn't have this, and that's where we had the IRQ issues with all the stuff inside in the COM ports, and then here is just a switcher. So I guess you would plug, the DB25 here to the modem, whether it goes to the computer or whether it's going to go to the printer, because I guess you would just print straight out, and then you had these buttons, to go between them. And it's amazing that there's enough power in the telephone line signal, or I don't know how these would work. I guess they would read it right off the serial port, but there'd be enough power to light, because these are not LEDs, right? This is not modern technology. There's no date on here, but yeah, it's an S1500. But yeah, it would just have this, that you'd need this kind of technology.
Wow.
Again, I don't understand the pain for that, but that was kind of a neat thing. And half me wants just take it apart and then throw it away. But I'm sure at some point someone's going to see this video and ask us for it. So I will keep it around. And then I kind of neat. I found these Office here, where this is Office 2010, home and business, and it talks about that they got, this is the home and business use there, so it doesn't have publisher, it doesn't have access, but it does.
The writing on the package is so classic. So many, if you go back to the front, that's exactly how you kept track of licensing. When did you buy it and who has it?
Exactly. Where does this license go? Because the license key, it's I don't know where the license key is.
I think it's in. Oh no.
It could. Well, I wonder. Let me try to open it up here.
I hope it's inside, not outside. Yeah.
Oh, Okay, I don't want to flash that on the internet. Microsoft, please will come and get me. But yeah, it's right here on the inside. But yeah, do not lend or make illegal copies. Includes Service Pack 1. So when Service Pack 2 came out, did you have to write to them to get that? I mean, could you? This one says 2011. I guess there was DSL rocking around at that time. You could download that, or Windows Update.Microsoft.com and go ahead and do that. But yeah, just kind of neat history, because when you
That's right around the time. What year was that?
2011.
Oh, that was right around the time that Microsoft changed their licensing model to go from I'm going to send you a code to you've got to register online. That was a big shift for them.
Yeah, and a lot of pirates hated that, right? I mean, you couldn't just make 1,000 copies of this and sell it online.
Well, then you had keygens would fix that, but yes.
Yeah. What's a keygen, Jackson?
I don't know. Just something I read.
Right, but when you compare it here, because this is Office and it's just Business and Office, and this one is Office Standard, and it's kind of interesting when you look at the different packages here. Like this talks about Outlook 2007, and there's Outlook 2007. It says with Business Contact Manager, and you get that with Office Standard, but not with the Home edition. You don't get Contact Manager, and it talks about products that I really don't know what they are. It says InfoPath 2007, Groove 2007. I don't know what those two things are. It's got Access and Publisher, but yeah, they obviously did not make it till the 2010 issue. InfoPath and Groove. I don't know if that was a part of a browser thing or anything, but yeah, and you see this is April 2010 that they bought 2007, and then a year and a half later they were already up to 2010 there, so they got that. Now, I don't know if this one's been open. I mean, it still has this little red tab there.
What you're basically explaining to me is the licensing model still a combination that you got to figure out the lock to, because it's E5, E1, F1. It's so crazy out there right now.
Exactly. Business Standard, Business Basic. All right, so now the last thing here is we'll go from newest to oldest. It's just kind of neat. Windows Server 2003 R2. I think 2008 had R1 and or I don't know if it was R1. It was just 2008, and there was 2008 R2. I wonder why they went away from that. If that was just too confusing, because now it's just 2016, 2020.
Depends on if you're talking Windows or Mac, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But yeah, just so still new in there with the license on there. So they had a couple of these, so they were doing that. And then my favorite operating system of all time was Windows 2000. Workstation had that there. I just thought it was so stable and just unbelievable. I just thought it was, and I loved running that. Everybody wondered, why are you running Windows 2000? And I said, I just would love it. And look at that. Okay, because Windows 2000 has the start button, but NT, I don't think I ever had that. But my goodness, talking about all the different networking technology, about what an IP address is, different how to read things in the stop messages because of the crashes. So while Windows has not, I think the Windows 95 interface is probably still good. Oh my goodness, the back end has just gotten so much better. Here it is talking about an IP address here. I saw terminal server licensing. I wonder if this is the last time they included a getting started book with that. What else do we got in here? Some license agreements, some licensing. What else is this? Read me first. Okay. Oh, so it's got a upgrade, Windows 2000 server upgrade, and this one is just Windows built on NT technology. So I guess if you do a clean install, you would do this one, and this one says Windows 2. I don't know if you can read that, Windows 2000 Server, and then it says upgrade right there. What is this disk?
I think those are when when devices weren't always booting from the CD, so you had to
When you had to,
or DVD rather.
I don't know, because this is Microsoft Windows 2000 Professional Server and Advanced Server, high encryption floppy disk.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if it was because you couldn't export encryption. Oh, it says this encryption technology is subject to U.S. export restrictions. So I guess if you bought this in Europe, you would get this, but not this high encryption part there. Interesting. Yeah, I've never had any experience with the high encryption floppy disk there. But
I think that's when Active Directory was. Yeah, I think that whole Active Directory was introduced with 2000. It was very. I mean, we still use a good chunk of it today.
It's amazing. Like you can take a 2000. I know you can take a 2003 server and upgrade the schema to current. You can't just upgrade the Windows. You can't just upgrade the Windows. But yeah, you're right. The schema you can actually say, okay, I think it's like 2007. Then you go to 2016, and then go from there.
I think you asked me one time about NT, and I didn't have much mileage with NT, but I think they were using that whole SAM-based domain thing, and I was like, it was beyond me. But some of my friends knew it really well.
I'm sure, absolutely. So here we do have, speaking of Windows Workstation, NT Workstation, and it includes Microsoft Windows Explorer, Internet Explorer. It doesn't say what version it is, but so that means 1.0. But you've got a Windows NT Workstation start here, and then I guess another one there. And it looks like, there are some, I don't want to open it up, but there are some floppies there. So I wonder if that is like a high encryption stuff, but it's kind of neat to have the Windows NT Workstation. Oh, right here. Internet Explorer 4.0, CD-ROM included. Well, that's a
Thank
product.
you for that. I'll just take a copy of that real quick.
That's not the license they're having it there. And but it's Java compatible, just so you know. Internet Explorer 4 is Java compatible.
So is my microwave.
Exactly. They fought so hard to get Java in there, and then they fight so hard to get rid of it, with all that kind of stuff. And then we've got a Windows 95 kind of, and the packaging is so similar. They've got to, when you look at the difference between those, it's got to be the same vintage, so that kind of lets us know when this NT Workstation was done. But Windows 95, let's see what we got here, with USB support. I wonder what that means. Aside just basic with USB support. So when Windows was released, Windows 95, there was no TCP/IP, but there was zero Windows support, or excuse me, USB support with Windows 95.
Yeah, I think you're bringing up some really old. I just remember that before USB, we were talking the IRQs and COM ports, and I think when you use the USB, that's when you standardized on the whole plug and play ecosystem. So it would detect it, it'd find drivers. Yeah.
And then you can kind of just see the bottom here. That looks like an America online. So they were paying Microsoft to discover AOL. Need directions? Oh my goodness.
You've got mail.
Yeah, if I knew then what I know now. So here we got Windows 95, with the install CD.
Didn't they just get rid of all the AOL accounts, I think? Didn't AOL just shut down their dial-up about 3 months ago?
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
So this looks like the same thing, right?
Oh, look at that.
Right. But one is taller than the other, and try to tell me what the difference is between these two. This one says disk 20, so there's 23 floppies, and don't copy that floppy. here in Windows 95. I don't know what version it is. Like this is Windows 95 with USB support. What if this has USB support, or I think later versions Windows 95 had the TCP/IP built in, but I don't know what version it is. I just thought it was kind of neat. That's still in the plastic there to have the Windows 95.
I mean, you think about it, that's amazing, right? The entire OS was what, 50 megs? That's crazy.
And if you wanted to update everybody that had this, you were shipping a lot of floppies. You couldn't just say release it and we'll fix it down the road. But yeah, I mean, this is 23 floppies. And I remember DOS had 3, right? It started with 1. And then why would you ever need more than 1 floppy for an operating system? All right, and then the last thing here, so this is the Windows 95 upgrade. So if you're using Windows 1 or Windows 2 or even 3.11, even back to DOS, you could upgrade to Windows 95. I think I read that on here. But yeah, so it says, how much RAM do you think you needed to run this?
I don't know, 2 megs, 4 megs, 8 megs?
It says
megs, not gigs, yeah.
4 megs of RAM. 8 or more is recommended. To use Microsoft Internet Explorer 4, you needed 12 megs or 16 megs with the active desktop. I'm not sure what that was, a widget or something that would go on the desktop. That's all.
Do you remember I'd walk into Fry's and the cost of RAM would change daily? Do you remember those days? That was crazy.
Yeah, we didn't have Fry's out here in Hawaii. I wish we had something called CompUSA, and that's been long closed. Just like you talked about pcANYWHERE 32, it talks about performance features, 32-bit preemptive multitasking, dial-up networking, faster printing, disk file access, Windows Explorer, enhanced file management tool. It really was a huge step up from all the previous Windows, before it. Even Windows 3.11, Windows Workgroups, having all the windows and everything looks the same, and the start button. So I really don't think this has changed. If you ask me what percentage this has changed over Windows 11, it's prettier Windows 11, but start bar is in centered in the middle by default, but it's still the clock's right there. My computer. I'm not sure if there was a recycle bin right there. Not much has changed in the look. It makes me wonder.
Yeah, they moved it to the center.
Yeah. What is the next huge thing in OS design for the interface? Mm-hmm. 'Cause behind the scenes, so much has changed. So much has got better with the driver support, and pretty much you can plug anything in pretty much, and it'll basically work until you can find the right driver that'll automatically be downloaded. So definitely under the hood, huge improvements since like this product. And 95, that was 31 years ago. That was a long time.
Yep. I
remember people waiting in line to get it. But yeah, I can't think eye movement, getting rid of the mouse because it knows where your eye is going, or trying to guess what you're going to do next with AI. I'm not sure, but I thought that this was kind of neat. Let me open this up. This is probably a CD. It doesn't seem heavy enough to be floppies. But this is already. Let's see what we've got in here. Ooh, 100 hours. Of AOL. Oh, another book. Oh, wow. Imagine talking about explore the online world, connecting to other computers, hyper terminal. Oh my goodness. Send and receive faxes. And how do you install I remember going to the control panel and trying to install stuff there. Troubleshooting. Because this is the first time people had the start button. Before this there was, so I can see why, like with Windows 2000, they need to tell people about the start button. But yeah, interesting that they have the little book there. Maybe I should send this away and have Bill Gates sign it. Oh, Internet Explorer CD, Microsoft, Internet Explorer. I got to tell you about your daddy or your son called Edge. Not much better.
Man, that was a Do you remember? I'm thinking of the Firebox. You made me think of what features are coming out. I remember when Google Appliances. Do you remember the Google Appliance? How popular those things were for larger organizations?
I don't know what is that?
So Google
Physical
Appliance used to,
appliance?
yeah. So you would give it basically free reign over your network and your data stores, and it would actually use Google algorithms to search your data.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I think AI is going to take over your computer, and then you'll use natural language to search. If I had to guess, it's going to be that.
And it's interesting that pendulum. Like first, people, everything was, they had mainframes in the 60s and 70s, and everything was in the cloud. You had dumb terminals. Then we had the huge client server stuff of the 80s, 90s, and then now we're back up in the cloud, and we had that for all the Gmails and the Google, and now going right back to on my computer. I don't want all of my data, everything I did up there on the cloud. I want to have that local. So it's just that pendulum. But I now were they yellow, those Google appliances? It would just scrape your network and then would,
I don't know what color they were, but they were very useful for data deduplication, finding documents, like e-discovery. It was very good for that.
Yeah. So Windows 95 upgrade. So I appreciate you Jackson taking this walk with me through
memory lane.
What I'm going to do with this stuff, I don't know. But if anybody there really wants to have this, let me know. It's here in Hawaii, and so we can ship it to you. Most everything would fit in a USPS, little box there, the one cost box. So I'm sure we can work something out. You do some good stuff in your community, and we'll let you have it for free. But this is Matt Darnell with ComTel.Cloud. Jackson, say goodbye.
Aloha. Thank you.
Aloha. Have a great day.